Good morning, good morning. Go ahead and have, at the very least, a strap nice and close. Strap or a belt. If you don't have one, go grab one and come back. And taking a moment to find your way to that comfortable seated position. Allow your hands to come to your knees. Go ahead and close your eyes. And dropping the chin towards the chest, just a little, not all the way to the chest. Just a gentle bow, opening up through the back of the neck. Drop those shoulders down, away from your ears. Keep drawing the crown up towards the sky. And then with all this energetically in place, the grounding and the lifting, even the belly button tucked up and in, shoulders relaxing, with all that in place, connect with the breath. Beginning to slow it down. Moving it through the body. And gently allowing your eyes to open, taking your hands to your knees on an exhale, rounding the spine back, tucking that chin in. Inhale forward, chest forward, crown up and back. And forward. And a few more times. At the pace of your own breath, kind of a seated cat-cow. Opening up the spine. The nice part here is grabbing on the knees also helps you open through the back of the shoulders. And taking a few circles. Circling out of the hips. And circling the other direction. And inhale, center. Go ahead and take a nice long spine. Maybe move a little bit of that flesh out from under the sits bones, allowing that pelvic floor to tilt forward. Spine becomes a little bit longer, a little bit freer to move up. Inhale those arms up and exhale, forward fold. Pressing gently into the hands, keeping those hips, those sits bones rooted onto the mat. Starting by extending out through the crown, leading with the chest. Walk the fingertips forward just a little bit more. Go ahead and for the last couple breaths here, relax through the head and neck. Allow that forehead to drop towards the floor. On your next inhale, pressing up to seated. Let's go ahead and take the nice wide legs. Taking a straddle. Again, scooch that flesh, get that pelvic tilt, flex those feet, toes point straight up towards the sky. Maybe you even take a slight inward rotation with the thigh, and then lengthening through the spine. Maybe you inhale the arms all the way up, and exhale, fold. Breathing into the fold, breathing in to those inner thighs. Walk the fingers forward just a little bit more. On your next inhale, pressing up, drawing behind the thighs, bringing those heels in just a little bit. Still keep them nice and wide. Go ahead and support behind your back with your hands and begin dropping your knees to one side and then the other, giving them a little bit of push with the muscle, pushing that knee towards the mat. Beginning to wake up through the hip joints. We're gonna get deeper here in a moment. Beginning to warm them up. Beginning to find that opening. Connecting your movement with your breath. Always, always inhale, center, exhale, side. And center. And let's get right into the hips. So coming into Agni Stambhasana, or the fire log pose, two options here. Maybe you take a cross leg, but with the shins a little bit away from the body, your legs tracking out pretty much in front of your hips. So kind of like you're making a square. Or if you want to, try stacking one foot on top of the other thigh, right above the knee. If you do that and have a big gap, feel free to place a block for support. And with a nice long spine, leading with the chest, begin walking those hands forward. We're really going to take a minute here, so get comfortable with your breath. Get somewhat comfortable in the pose. Really find that sweet spot. Readjust if you need to, but I really want you to get into that hip there. We're going to breathe here for like another minute or so. So adjust as needed. Find that tight spot there. Maybe you have a couple. Relax in the jaw and breathe into those spots. On your next inhale, go ahead and begin to press up, removing the block. If you used a block, using your hands to slowly unwind. As we stretch out our hips, we don't want to move them too quickly. And choosing your position for the other side. Choose the same position, like positioning for both sides. And maybe you even switch throughout. Maybe you start with them on the ground and stretch for a little bit, and then one on top of the other. Either way, find that positioning. Begin to walk the hands forward. Nice straight spine, finding that sweet spot in the back of the hip there. And again, checking in with your face as we settle into breathing here. Are you holding any tension around the eyes, in the forehead, in the jaw? If you are, go ahead and release that, using only the breath to move the tension out of your body. On your next inhale, beginning to press up. Go ahead and release, drawing those legs out long for just a moment. As you get them there, give a little bounce in the knees, lifting back up, continuing to release. Flexing the feet, checking those sits bones. If you're nice and grounded, growing tall from the tailbone, begin to walk those hands forward, down those straight legs. Open through the hamstrings, open through the calves, wherever along the back of the legs there, that's your tightest point. Lean into that, breathe into that. After a few breaths, if you can walk your hands a little bit further down your legs, do that for a few more breaths. And inhale, pressing up. I'm going to use blocks and the straps now for the next few poses. Let's go ahead and start with a block. And if you don't have a block and you just want to do a few free standing bridges, that's another option as well. Otherwise, we're going to support our bridge and hold it for a couple minutes. So walk those feet as close as you can into your body. Tuck those shoulder blades under onto your back, and then begin pressing up, right, raising the hips and placing your block. And you can choose your height, lowest, medium, highest only if you're already pretty open into back bends. Once you set your hips on that block, you should feel very comfortable placing it on that little triangle bone at the base of your spine. It's beyond the base of your spine. If it doesn't feel comfortable, please readjust and then relax. And as you relax here into bridge, Setu Bandha, go ahead and begin some deep belly breathing. Draw that oxygen all the way down into the abdomen. As you gaze down your body, maybe you can even see your lungs expanding and contracting. Go ahead and slow that breath down. Can you breathe in to a count of 4? And exhale to a count of 4. And taking one more deep breath in. On your exhale, pressing into those heels, lifting the hips more, removing the block and rolling down slowly. Slowly, 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 one vertebra at a time. Let that tailbone come last. Beautiful. Just to reset in between our back bends, go ahead and draw those knees into the chest, giving them a gentle squeeze, rocking the hips from side to side. Maybe you take a couple circles. And you may want 2 blocks for this one. We're going to come into fish. If you have the taller block, maybe you just go on the shortest. I have kind of the skinny block, so I might go on the medium and use the other block. So I'm going to start with my knees bent, placing that block right below my shoulder blades. You might want the other block as a pillow behind your head. As you open up here again, it should feel pretty good. Like it might feel like a back bend, but it shouldn't feel like the block is pressing into anywhere funny. It should feel pretty comfortable. And as you find that spot, adjust as you need to. Maybe you draw the legs out long. That does bring it a little bit deeper. So honoring your body, listening to your body, legs bent is good too. Just finding some opening now in the top part of that spine. We just did the lower part with our bridge. And for this pose, I want you to focus on drawing breath into the chest. Really the chest and rib cage. You've got your heart exposed. Your chest is very open. This is a great time to expand that lung capacity. Go ahead and rebend your knees. If you straighten them, bring the soles of the feet to the mat. Press gently into the elbows to roll onto your side. Coming into fetal position, removing that block. And rolling back onto your back for another little squeeze in. Squeeze and rock. Go ahead and roll back onto your side and all the way up onto your hands and knees. Spreading through the fingertips, tucking those back toes under, lifting those hips up and back, down dog. Just taking a couple breaths to walk the dog out. And then pressing firmly out through both heels. Go ahead and inhale that left leg up. Exhale, drawing it all the way through, placing that shin on the mat. Back heel comes to the mat. Go ahead and adjust that bottom leg. Maybe you keep it directly in with the foot pointing back towards your body. Maybe you draw that shin towards parallel with the top of the mat. From there, begin to drop that right hip down in alignment with the left. Take a peek back. Is that right foot tracking right behind you? And once you've got all of this, maybe you begin to walk down. onto your elbows. Maybe you bring your forehead to your arm, maybe you don't. But just breathing into the back of that thigh, the back of that hip. And as you do so, again, just checking in with your face, checking in with your jaw, around your eyes. Are you squeezing, tightening, holding any tension here? If you are, begin to smooth out that forehead. Maybe smile, even if you don't feel like it. Just finding some relaxation in the jaw. Breathing. Your next inhale, beginning to press back up all the way onto your hands. Tucking those back toes under, shifting those hips up to release that bottom leg. Back into down dog. Inhale that right leg up. Exhale, coming through. Getting it all set up. Taking that peak back. Find that sweet spot. Maybe dropping down onto an elbow. As you're ready, on an inhale, begin to press back up onto your hands. Again, tucking those back toes under. Pressing up to release. Back for a moment in down dog. And inhaling forward onto your knees. Let's go ahead and make our way for a final seated position. So we'll be back on our mats, on our backs for a wind down. Just really getting into the hips while we're here, while we're warming up. We're gonna go back towards the cow face. So take that right foot across the left. Left foot over towards the right. And taking a moment to work your knees towards stacking on top of one on top of the other. That may not be where they get to today, but working as close to that as you can, dropping that left hip back to the mat. Maybe you just breathe here with a nice tall spine. I know this is an intense one. Maybe you begin to walk the fingers forward. Maybe you press through that right hand to help keep that left hip seated. On your next inhale, beginning to press up, using your hands to assist in the unwind. I feel like I might have messed up my right and left. My left foot's on the bottom now. My right foot's on top. Either way, switch it up. Whatever it was before, do the other now. Once you get that set up, start with a nice straight spine. Inhaling, extending through the crown, and then beginning to walk your hands forward. Just a couple more deep breaths here. On your next inhale, beginning to walk up nice and tall. Hands assist. Grabbing that strap. And beginning to roll down. One vertebra at a time, walking down the backs of the legs all the way to the floor. We'll just do a quick little version of the straps. Probably won't hold it quite as long as we normally do, but we'll dig in a little bit deeper. Go ahead and grab the ball of that right foot with your strap. Straighten first, however far you have to angle to get that nice straight leg, and then begin pulling the strap up. And keep pulling till you find that place where you want to start bending again. That's where you want to hold and breathe. Keep using these poses, these opportunities as a place to work on the breath, to work on lung capacity. This is the time of your day that you've carved out really to focus on the breath. Yes, we're doing a bunch of other lovely stretches and exercises at the same time, but let it be about the breath. And taking both straps into the right hand, go ahead and open that right leg towards the right. Keep pulling those toes up towards the nose. Inhale up through center, bending, oh, sorry, nope, up through center and over to the other side. Both straps go into that left hand, right foot goes across. Ooh, yes. Feel that nice IT band in there. You probably, most likely feel a stretch somewhere between the connection in your hip all the way down to the connection in your knee. Maybe you feel it along that whole length. Just a couple more breaths here. Inhale up through center. Bend that knee, release that right leg alongside the left. Readjust those hips so both hips have even pressure on the mat. And then left leg bends, hook the strap, and going for that straight leg. And go ahead and switch both straps into that left hand, begin opening towards the left. Drawing those toes up towards the nose. Maybe you take that right hand in the right hip crease. Encourage that right hip to stay on the mat. On your next inhale, coming all the way through center, both straps into that right hand. Left leg comes across. Finding that IT band. Breathing into that. Inhale up through center, bending and releasing the strap, placing that to the side. Go ahead and bend that right knee, left ankle crosses over right knee, right foot comes up, grab behind the thigh or in front of the shin. Keeping that top foot flexed. And release. Switching it up, grabbing that thigh and or shin. Back into figure 4. And this is it. One more tiny bit of love for the hips today. Breathe into it, get the most out of it. release. Last crossover, left over right, both knees to the right, supine twist. Maybe you gaze out over that left shoulder. Inhale through center. Switching it up over to the other side. Releasing in that lower back there. Giving your organs a nice little massage. And center. And release all the way down for a few breaths in Shavasana. Even if you only give it a couple breaths, just give your body just a second to allow the practice to settle in, kind of like you would maybe after acupuncture or the chiropractor or whatnot. Give it a second to settle in. Put your body in this beautiful, nice, open, straight position, supported by the earth. Legs are out long, spine is straight, arms open to the side, chest is open, face is relaxed. Just a couple breaths here. If you want to meditate after yoga, I encourage that as well. But from here, go ahead and bring the soles of your feet to the mat. Rolling onto your side. Slowly pressing up into seated. And closing the eyes for just a moment more. One of the most powerful tools in living, experiencing the life that I desire to experience, that anyone desires to experience, is gratitude. It's really coming from a place of trust, knowing that your needs are already and always met. Because every moment, every new moment is always unknown. So we always have the opportunity to come to a new moment in a state of fear, because we understand that things are always changing and nothing is for sure. But if you can come into a space of gratitude for everything you already have and for every time you've already experienced being taken care of, even when stepping into the unknown, we continue to create more space for that to be the reality. So just taking a moment in gratitude, finding one thing to be grateful for today, even if it's just your breath, that you have life in your body. I'm so grateful for you, for coming to yoga, for showing up. May you go in gratitude. Namaste.